This video, I want to talk to you about purpose. So, several years ago, I was really wanting to know what God's will for my life was. What were the gifts and talents that He had given me? And I knew He had given me gifts and talents, right? We all have gifts and talents. And I wanted to know what He wanted me to do. I wanted to make sure that I was in His will. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't wasting time, especially as I was over 40 and I had failed so many attempts to do so many different things, and I wanted to stop wasting time, right? But I do know that nothing is wasted, right? No experience is wasted, no job is wasted, no experience is wasted, whether it's bankruptcy or divorce or whatever it is. No experience is wasted. We can learn from every experience, and I believe that God will use whatever we've been through, whatever we deal with on a daily basis, people that we don't like, experiences we don't like. God can use it all. But I was praying to God, and it was, this time it was like a big deal, it was a buzzword, but I was really concerned about not wasting any more time. I wanted to know what God's will for me, what my purpose was, what did I do well, and what did I need, what was I doing that I didn't need to be doing anymore. So what was I doing well and what was I not doing well, or where was I out of line? Where was I out of alignment? So I started praying, and I prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. And so I was looking for God to send someone and then send someone else and speak to me about what it was that His desire for me was. What was it that I was really good at? And so I could see things in myself that seemed to be a gift or talent. I could see things that I could not take credit for, that I seemed to do well. Maybe no one else noticed, but I did notice for myself. And so I was praying to God, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know where He was going to lead me. I was hoping that He didn't lead me in certain things, because I realized that in certain environments I don't do well. But I am open. I'm still open to whatever He says, because I know that His will is the best, and whatever He says is better than what I would say. I know that I will mess things up, right? And so I know that when you speak on a platform, you have influence, and you want to make sure that you steward the influence well. You want to make sure that you're saying the right things that will be helpful and encouraging to people. So I didn't want to do anything that was not. And I always say the same thing. Anything that I say that is well, that is good, that is helpful, that is encouraging, it came from God. Anything that is not good that I say that didn't come off clear, that wasn't the right thing, I spoke too quickly, I spoke too soon, I spoke out of the will of God. And so I'm crystal clear on that, right? So I continue to pray, and I believe that if you want to know what your purpose is, there's all kind of great tools that God has allowed man to create. Okay, I do believe that. I do believe that there is a certain level of sitting still and quiet that you must do in order to hear God. I don't know if it comes crystal clear like I thought it would. I do know that you have to sit quiet. I'm clear on that. You have to sit quiet and listen to God. And also think that you have to do some stuff, right? That you can't, because you do a whole bunch of different things, and you find out what you do well, you find out what you don't do well. You may hear people say, you, or maybe people will come to you over and over again for a thing, and you can see God's working through you in that situation. But I think that, like I said, no experience is wasted. God will use whatever. And I think that a bunch of experiences in different areas makes you appreciate people who do things that you're not called to do. Areas where you're not gifted, you can appreciate the gifts and talents that God gave that person. So if you are looking for your purpose, you're trying to figure out, okay, what did God put me here for? What do I do well? What are my gifts and talents? The first thing I believe that you must do is pray. That is the most important thing, because I don't believe that anybody can tell you specifically what God called you to be or do, the skills and talents that you have. You can hear compliments, right? You can hear, if you're praying to God, He can use people to show you things about yourself that maybe you didn't know, or that they might say, you really did a good job on this. You do this well. They might come to you for something, but don't be caught up on one person telling you did something, that this is your gift and talent. You got to see it several different ways, in my opinion. But the most important thing, the foundation, is praying. And then the second thing is action. You've got to do a bunch of stuff to know what it is that you're good at, what your gifts and talents are, what your purpose is. You got to sit quiet, preferably in a journal, and you got to write it down. You got to pray, and then you got to listen. You got to pray and you got to listen to whatever God is telling you, so that you can be clear and you can know for sure, these are the things that God has called me to do. These are the things that I'm gifted in. These are my areas that God has called me to be. And no matter what it is that God has called you into, you're going to need Him to get through it. You cannot do it alone, because you can't take the credit. You won't ever be able to take the credit. It will always be giving God the glory for what He has done through you your entire life. And in every situation you will be in, you will be praying that God will help you get through it. So don't think that because it's your purpose that you don't need God. No, every situation you're going to need God. And it's a growing process. It's a growth of faith. It's a growth of helping other people get to where they need to be. It's speaking over or speaking into other people's lives. So it's not just, this is your purpose, this is what He called you to do, you don't need God. No, you're going to need God even more as you discover what He calls you to do. So if you are, thinking about your purpose, think about these things, sit down for yourself and just pray about what it is that God, your purpose is, your gifts, talents. Sit down with a piece of paper and write down, pray and listen. And then you got to do some stuff. You got to have some experiences. You got to put in the reps, because even though whatever it is He's called you to do, you're going to have to do some work. You're going to have to get better at it. You're going to have to sharpen it. You're going to have to, constantly be looking to improve it. And so it's not going to be perfect, because we're not perfect, right? We're going to have to constantly be putting in the reps. So if you're thinking about purpose, just think about this. This will help you get, to kind of see things more, more clear. So I hope this helps you think about your purpose in a different way, as well as your skills and talents.